Hey guys, Carl Cooper here with On the Black with my weekly chat with Dave Doyle of Mets Report. How you doing, Dave?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Not a problem. So, just want to get some early spring training thoughts from you about how some of the guys are doing and what your thoughts on here. I mean, obviously we're still early. We're only a couple weeks into this, but just some early general thoughts from you on spring training so far.
Sure. I think a couple things when you're looking at the position battles that are out there. I think it's starting to look pretty obvious that Justin Turner is going to be the odd man out at second base. So I think that's probably the most obvious one so far.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is that Chris Young has looked good so far in his
Yes.
first couple of games, and that's great. But I gotta say, I'm still really skeptical about these kind of has-been maybe starting pitchers that are in on if you looked at Kelvin Escobar last year, Freddie Garcia the year before. Um, I just, I guess I'm kind of waiting for Chris Young's shoulder to fall apart. Is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, with both Young and Capuano, obviously the Mets are taking a chance here. But I mean, I think it's a low risk, high reward in both cases because if healthy, I mean, they've both proven that they can be successful major league pitchers. But to your point, that if can both of those guys be healthy all season long? And I mean, hey, look, I mean, it's again low risk, high reward, and only 1 year deals for both of these guys. So if they don't perform, they don't come back
Yeah.
next year. If they do, it's a pleasant surprise, and the Mets might be able to surprise some people this year. So, I guess we'll see what happens with both of those moves.
I agree, and I think we had this new all-star front office that came in and really did relatively little in the off season. So I think these low-risk, high-reward guys are one of the ways that this front office is going to have to show that they know what they're doing here because they really didn't sign any big free agents. They didn't make any big trades. They really did very little. So if they do get some performance out of Chris Young or Chris Capuano this year, I think that's one way that they can say that they've done their jobs.
Right.
And I think the other way is that if they can try to unload Carlos Beltran and K-Rod at some point during the season, I'm sure that the Wilpons would to get rid of those salaries. So,
Yeah.
considering the financial situation.
Yeah. So let's talk good Ollie, bad Ollie.
Oh boy.
So he had one terrible outing,
Yeah.
and the reports were the team was on the verge of letting him go, and then he had a pretty good outing, which just kind of that's just Ollie being Ollie, and that's good. That's what is meant by good Ollie, bad Ollie. At the end of the day, I personally still don't want to see him on the opening day roster. I mean, what are your thoughts thus far with Oliver Perez?
I agree with that. That I really don't want to see him. I've seen more than enough of him already. But it's if he does make the roster, he's not going to be in the rotation, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
So if he does make the roster, he's going to be coming out of the bullpen, I guess like a lefty specialist type of guy. The only thing I can think of that's worse than a $12 million a year lefty specialist is a $12 million a year guy that's not even on the roster. So it's hard to imagine that he's really going to have a place on this team. I mean, two innings it does not a season make.
Right.
And he from the reports that I read, his fastball never made it above the mid 80s anyway. So he clearly just doesn't have what he used to, whatever that was.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't see a fit for him on this team. Like you said, he's not going to be in the starting rotation. And to me, he's definitely not a bullpen kind of guy. You expect your guys coming out of the bullpen to come in and throw strikes right away. And that is by far Oliver Perez's biggest issue, is throwing strikes on a consistent basis. So I just don't see how he would be a fit for the bullpen, lefty specialists or not.
I don't either. I mean, how do you bring him in with people on base? You know,
Right.
he can't throw strikes. So bringing him in with people on base is a disaster waiting to happen. So I don't know what you do with him.
Right, right. Okay, and lastly, I want to ask you a little bit about Nick Evans. He's been sort of this guy that's been on the Mets for a few years now. He's always kind of been, on the fringe of being a major league player and then sent back down, so on and so forth. I know he is a fan favorite, and Mets fans want to see him get a shot to be on the major league roster. I believe he's actually out of options, so
Yep.
the Mets are going to have to make a decision. Either he's going to be on the major league roster or he's not going to be in the Mets organization. I mean, I guess it's kind of a little bit of a tough call. I mean, what are your thoughts on Nick Evans?
I think you're right, and I just don't see where he fits on this roster, unfortunately. And to have a young guy like that coming off the bench, I suppose you could do that just because he's out of options. But my guess is that he's probably going to be exposed to waivers and that he's probably going to be picked up by somebody. And I think another team would be smart to pick him up if they have can find a spot for him, especially if they can find a spot for him where he could start. Really like his offense, really do. I think he could be a really good offensive player. I think he can be serviceable defensively at several positions, at first, maybe third, corner outfield. So, I doubt that he'll be on the Mets opening day, but I hope he gets a good shot somewhere else, a good chance to play this year.
Right, right. Okay. Well, hey, Dave, thanks for taking a few minutes and doing this weekly chat again. For those out there of you that are watching this, you can check out Dave and I every week doing sort of a Mets recap of the week that was, and looking forward to the week ahead during the season. And also check Dave out at MetsReport.com. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.